Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Tyler and today we're going to be going over eukaryotic cell structure. So a cell is the smallest part of a living organism. They are the building blocks to life. And then eukaryotic refers to animal and plant cells. So for a cell to be eukaryotic, its DNA must be enclosed in a nucleus. So a nucleus is the first part to a eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cells also have a cell membrane. They do not have a cell wall like plant cells do. They only have a cell membrane. They also have a cytoplasm, which is just the jelly-like substance that is in the cell. Also, they have ribosomes, which are small little dots normally on an animal cell or a plant cell. So what I've drawn here is a very simplified structure of an animal cell. So I'll write that here, animal. So obviously humans have animal cells, so do dogs, so do cats, so do, I don't know, iguanas. So anyway, so this is a mitochondria. So all animal and plant cells have a mitochondria, but we're just going to be doing the animal cell first. They also have, like I've stated before, the nucleus, and then they have ribosomes. They have your cytoplasm, which I'm making sure you can see. And then they also have your, cell membrane. So you do actually have to know what happens in each of these subcellular structures or what their function is. So first of all, we've got the nucleus, and this contains all the cell's genetic code, otherwise known as DNA. The genetic code is basically just all the genes that the cell needs. And the mitochondria, this is where aerobic respiration occurs. And now we have the cell membrane, and this controls what substances can enter or leave the cell. So this here, this structure that goes around the cell, this actually controls what enters the cell, but also what leaves the cell. So this is otherwise known as selectively permeable. Permeable basically just means stuff can go through it, but it's selective, which means it chooses what can go through it. But you don't need to know much more about that. And then ribosomes, this is where proteins are made, which are very essential to cells and life in general. And then we've got the cytoplasm. This is just a jelly-like fluid. This is where most chemical reactions occur. So cytoplasm is just all the empty, well, it's not empty, but all the area besides the subcellular structures. It's basically just like a fluid that's inside the cell, because you've got to remember this is all 3D. It's like a ball, and the cytoplasm is just the liquid inside that surrounds all these structures inside the animal cell. So it's also very good for me to mention that ribosomes, because they're too small, they can't be seen under a light microscope. So now we have our plant cell, which contains very similar structures to the animal cell, but obviously there are some differences, as you can see. So I'm going to point out the differences first. So a plant cell contains a vacuole, and this vacuole is permanent. It also contains chloroplast, and then a plant cell also contains a cell wall. So these are all differences that plant cells have to an animal cell. These are different. So an animal cell does not have a permanent vacuole, chloroplast, or a cell wall. So obviously the plant cell has the same cell membrane, just like an animal cell. It also has the nucleus. It also has ribosomes. It also has mitochondria. So obviously we're going to go over the functions of all of these again, plus the new structures that we just learned about. So we've got the vacuole. This contains cell sap, which is mainly just water. So this big structure here. And because it's so large, it gives the cell shape. We also have the cell membrane, which permeable, which obviously, like I said about the animal cell, it's the exact same. It controls what enters and leaves the cell. It's selective, which means it controls different things. And it's permeable, which means what can go in and out. Nucleus, it contains DNA, and it's enclosed, which means it's not free floating, which is free floating in prokaryotic cells such as bacteria. Ribosomes, like I said, protein synthesis. Synthesis just means to make. Protein synthesis means where proteins are made. Now the chloroplast, this is containing chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is a green pigment. And this is where photosynthesis occurs. And I'm sure you've heard of photosynthesis, and we'll get onto that in another video. Sorry, the video did actually cut off there, but the cell wall contains cellulose, which is strong, which gives the plant cell its shape. As you know, animal cells are quite blob-like, but plant cells have quite a regular structure, which is normally like a brick shape, and this is because of the cellulose and the permanent vacuole, which give it its shape. We also have the mitochondria, which, as I've said, is where aerobic respiration occurs. So as I've stated, we've got the vacuole, the chloroplast, and the cell wall. These are all features that the plant cell has that animal cells do not have. And also, like I've said before, ribosomes, you cannot see them under a light microscope because they are so small. You'll have to use something called an electron microscope. So hopefully now you should be able to tell the difference between a plant and animal cell, and you should be able to describe and label the functions of each of these subcellular structures, which are included inside of each of these cells. You should also know that plant cells are actually slightly larger than animal cells. And that's it for today's video. I really hope you guys found it useful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.